Boris Johnson is willing to stake his reputation on this national insurance tax hike to pay for social care reform. Let's take a look. Reputation? Jesus, the only thing Boris has a reputation for is being a fucking liar and shagging people behind his various wives' backs. Fuck me, reputation. We're through the looking glass now, aren't we? A liar and a shagger. That's his reputation, that's his legacy. You know, we are the party of low taxation, says Boris Johnson, having just raised taxes to their highest since the 1950s. And then he goes with, we are the party of the NHS, at which point I switched off the fucking TV and poured a bottle of bleach into each of my ears so I never have to hear anything so demonstrably untrue ever again. He's a fucking liar. When Boris first entered number 10 as Prime Minister, he said he had a plan to sort out social care. Presumably, it's very similar to the plan he just announced 2 years later. In the interim 2 years, of course, he won a general election, campaigning with the promise not to raise taxes. So he was either lying when he entered number 10 about having a social care plan, or he was lying when he said he had no plan to raise taxes. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a socialist, right? I like being taxed. I know, what a dick. I like tax and spend. I think it's a good thing. I'd pay 10% more if I thought it would solve the crisis in our NHS and care services. But this plan won't. And this isn't extra money, it's just topping up after 11 years of cuts. A broken social care system that the Tories have been in charge of for 11 years. The social care crisis is one of their own making. They want to raise $36 billion over the next 3 years, a massive cash injection into health and social care. Brilliant! How are they going to do it? By raising taxes in a way that will be felt most keenly by those on low income. This government, it can find money when it wants the money. Can't it? It can find £56 billion for HS2, an infrastructure project that will shave about 9 minutes off your journey time to Birmingham, whilst raping the English countryside. It can find £37 billion for their botched track and trace system, with most of the money lining Tory pockets. I suppose it is the party of the NHS if you're Dido fucking Harding. Okay, they easily found the £120 million awarded to a Tory councillor for PPE face masks that were of such low quality that 3,999 masks out of every 4,000 had to be thrown in a fucking skip. A skip which was presumably hired for £4 billion from Matt Hancock's new small business venture, Matt Hancock's Skips. But when it comes to spending money on stuff that vulnerable people need, like social care, where do we find the money? Well, let's just get vulnerable people to pay for it. Need to find more money for the NHS? Let's just increase national insurance for, people like nurses. The government, it's done nothing to assess the impact of cuts to universal credit, things like disability credits, that have had a huge impact on the amount of people needing social care. Under this plan, it might take 2 years for the social care sector to get any money. It's taken them 2 years to reveal their plan, and their plan is that you won't get any more money for another 2 years. Because the plan is to concentrate on the NHS. Okay, well, I guess that's fine, okay, but with no target for reducing waiting lists and no guarantee that this money will end up where it needs to be. You know why? Because we know where most of this money will end up, one way or another, lining the pockets of Tory donors, starting with £9 million for a slew of new NHS executives at £270,000 a pop. Just what the NHS needs, more executives, £9 million worth, roughly the same cost as 9,000 hip replacements or 1,200 heart bypasses. I wonder if these new executives went to medical school or Eton. I wonder. Well, here in Scotland, the plan has inevitably caused some concern. The devolved government in Holyrood suggesting that this is just a smash and grab.